You know what they say. If you like it, encase it in plastic. Hey there, kids. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank, hoping that you are having a great day. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about something I've been wanting to do for a while. I just haven't for whatever reason. Today, we're talking about graded cards, grading cards, buying, selling, collecting, all that jazz, my general opinions on the practice, the slabs, the different companies. And yeah, you know, as somebody who does buy and sell a lot of cards, I do see graded cards from time to time. Not really often. I don't really go out of my way to buy graded cards, and I don't really go out of my way to get cards graded, with one exception, and I'll talk about that down the road in the video. But you see I've got here big old stack of graded cards from a few different companies, and I felt like just talking about each of them in turn and giving my overall opinion on them. So without further ado, let's dive right in. And you know, I suppose it's only fitting that we talk about PSA first. They are the most recognizable name in the business. The PSA slab is pretty much iconic when it comes to getting cards of various TCGs graded, and they do grade just about everything to my knowledge. They will grade a huge variety of different card games, card collectibles, cards that aren't even for a game or like a trading card, etc. Like, these guys will grade a lot. Overall, they have a simpler case. Nice plastic, frosting in the negative space, I suppose. The space between the borders is negative space, technically. Most of their cases, are fitted to the various card sizes. So Yu-Gi-Oh cases will fit Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and Magic cases will fit Magic cards. Some things I like about the PSA case: it's very easy to sell a PSA card. Most people online, when they are buying or selling various trading cards, it's usually, not always, but it's usually in a PSA slab is what they're looking for or looking to sell. So if you have PSA cards, they're fairly easy to move. Some things I don't like about PSA cards: I think the label itself up here is perhaps the second or third most generic looking label of the ones I've seen. It's not fantastic. Obviously, you know, it's a grading, it's a card grade label. It doesn't have to be some fancy schmancy nonsense. But I don't know, something about the white box with the red border just kind of rubs me the wrong way. It just kind of seems official, like an office document, rather than something to celebrate or show off necessarily your graded card. And the back's a bit nicer, and I'm kind of curious why the dark blue as opposed to the bright red. But you know, it's very simple, easy to read. It's got the game, it's got the card, it's got the set it's from, and it's got the grade. PSA does not do subgrades, to the best of my knowledge, on any of their proper slabs, and they're trusted for a reason. You know, PSA is the biggest name in the business for a reason. Everyone likes them, everyone more or less trusts them. I know that there's problems with them from time to time, but for the most part, if you're buying a PSA card, you're buying the PSA brand more than the card itself, which that says something, you know. But let's move on before I sound like I'm kissing their ass too much, right? I don't have any modern Beckett cards slabbed right now. I have this older slab from Beckett. I don't even know how old this thing is. And I think these older slabs are fine. I like the subgrades on them. I really like the metallic label, but we're not going to talk about that one just because it's old and busted. But while I don't have a modern Beckett slab, I do have a BCCG slab, which is, I think BCCG stands for Beckett Card Collectors, or Beckett Collectors Club Grading. I think that's what it stands for. Somebody correct me in the comments section down below. And this is kind of, I've heard different explanations for it, and I've never actually bothered to look it up now that I think about it. But this is like for bulk grading. Like, you want to grade a bunch of cards with Beckett, you send it to BCCG instead of Beckett proper. And this is, I earlier had said that the PSA label had looked one of the worst. This, I think, of the big ones that like people are aware of, I think the BCCG label is the worst. It's just, White label, black text, and that's fine. You know, it's for bulk graded cards. Obviously, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. This is for if you just want to get a bunch of cards graded for cheap. But the other thing I've noticed is that the fitting is never really great on these. I've had a bunch of these come through my hands in the last like 2 or 3 years now, and it's not on this one, but a lot of the times the cards inside are kind of loose. The inner sleeve that they put with the slab isn't all that great. And I've also noticed that their grading is fairly loose. Like a 10, if you can't see it there, 10 in BCCG means mint or better, which in my opinion, a lot of the 10s I've seen are more like PSA 9s rather than a 10. But hey, I understand that it's down to personal opinion. I kept this one because it's kind of hard to tell. But right there, I kept this one as an example of a 10 because there's a nice crease in the corner, and I thought that made this basically unsellable in my opinion. So that came to me a while back. And I was just like, you know what? No, I'm going to keep that. Next up, we have the other big name in grading, CGC, which a lot of people are familiar with CGC now. They've had a lot of there's been a lot of controversies with CGC lately. Fake Pokemon cards, improper grading practices. Their names come up in the news more than I think they'd like recently. I overall like the label for CGC. Something about the layout here. It's not game card and then set. It's card game set, which something about that. I just like that layout a lot. Something I don't like about CGC, besides the overall controversies, is that they're not really willing to commit to a 10 as a grade on its own. And by that, I mean there is, as you can see, that this is a Gem Mint 10, but this is not a pristine 10. A pristine 10 has a nice little golden accent on the label, because in CGC's words, there are 10s and then there's real 10s. And it's kind of obvious when you're holding a Gem Mint 10 that they aren't really Gem Mint. This one, like, it's really hard to see on the camera, but there's a tiny dent in the corner there. I would not count this as a 10 if I were grading a card like this. Next up, we have a quick lightning round of some of the random crap I find at like garage sales and such. We have advanced card grading, yeah, and WCG, world class grading. This one, I'm just gonna say that these are terrible. If it's some random grading company you've never heard of, and like you can't find a decent value card in that slab online anywhere, well, that's a loud card that's passing by. Like, if you're seeing a slab like this and it's always like a cheap card or a card that no one in their right minds would consider getting graded, it's probably not worth it to look into the company itself. I've found a lot of these weird side grading companies to be really lackluster. This one's, you can hear that the card's loose in there, right? But this one, not only is it loose, that's really loose. I love that rattle that this bad boy gives off. But they labeled it wrong. In case you aren't a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, this is an ultra rare Blue Eyes White Dragon from way back in the day. They labeled it a super rare on the slab, and I can't understand how you would make that mistake. I do like that rattle a lot, though. Sorry if I appear sweaty. It is like 90 degrees in here. Next up on my little grading party, we have the grading company that I actually do use the most. I send cards out to them for grading from time to time. Though I don't really buy graded cards with this label a lot. They don't pop up a lot. PCG. My mind blanked there for a second. PCG has two different kinds of slabs, and I'm going to talk about each of them in turn. So there is the PCG regular slab, which is where I submit a lot of my cards for. And I really like this one because of the metallic accents they use for their labels. You can see there, a 9 gets a nice shiny silver, and then a 10 grade gets nice. Camera does not want to focus on these. That's fine. The 10 gets a nice golden label. What I really like, and there's another car outside. What I really like about this PCG, I almost said CGC, What I really like about the PCG labels is the subgrades, where you get to see on the card where exactly every aspect of the card mattered in terms of the final grade, which I really like. I'm a really big fan of that kind of transparency. As opposed to the kind of simple label where it's just all the information on the front and then just like a QR code on the back. PCG also like double labels it, so like all the information is here, and then the information is also back here with the QR code. So I think that's kind of nice. PCG also has this freaking thing, the player slab, and while I am a huge fan of the regular slab for PCG, I gotta confess, I'm not a fan of this. The idea behind the player slab is that it's a graded card you can still play with in your like overall deck. Flesh and Blood, for instance, the hero cards, which is what this is, would be in play the entire time. It's never shuffled into your deck, never goes to the graveyard, etc. And I respect the idea behind that, but they really sacrificed quality for these, in my opinion. As opposed to the regular slides, which show the subgrade, this one just gives just the grade. It doesn't even give the card info. Like, you can't tell what this is just by looking at it if you didn't, like, you know, if this were in a weird language, like Spanish or something, I wouldn't be able to tell what this card is. And I think that's really a shame because they sacrificed what I think is a bit of quality for a bit of playability. And that's fine in theory, but I don't know. I'm not a really big fan of these slabs. I also think that the slab itself is in a weird, the label itself is in a weird spot on the back. It should be down here, I think. But whatever. You know, moving on. To the final, this thing's heavy as crap. This is the final slab I have for you guys today. Check this beast out. This is ARS. This is the only graded card I went out specifically to buy for the purposes of this video, and it took a while to get here. The reason is ARS is a grading company that only services people in Japan, to the best of my knowledge. So if you want to get an ARS card, you have to buy it from Japan, and if you want to get a card graded with them, you got to send it to someone in Japan and then do that whole waiting process. I think the pros outweigh the cons, though, because this is a really nice slab. I've had a bunch of people in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, a bunch of friends who are big into collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards, sing the praises for this slab for a very long time, and I finally have one in my hands, and let me tell you, well, I'm definitely not going to go out of my way to buy a lot of these. I definitely like the presentation because this feels, you know, compare it to the PSA graded card, to the ARS card. The PSA card, it looks like an office document almost. But the ARS case looks like a trophy almost, where the card is emphasized and then the label is down here giving just the card details. In fact, the grade's on the back. Right? Yeah. The grade and all the pertinent information's back here. On the front is... Oh, that's really... Look at that glare. I could blind someone with that. Holy crap. Anyway, Jesus, if the camera would stop trying to blind me. It doesn't really show up. It doesn't want to zoom in. Boop. Doesn't want to zoom in, but all the information's there on the bottom. So this really does look more like a display piece is the correct word. Maybe not like a trophy card, but it does kind of look like a trophy card, doesn't it? I really like the overall presentation with the ARS slabs. They're also heavy. Back to compare it to PSA again, you can easily see the thickness difference with these slabs. This thing is like double the thickness of PSA when you compare them side by side. And you know, it compares differently to other graded cards, but this thing is a beast. You could beat someone with this if you wanted to. So it looks nice, it's sturdy, it's very thick, and I think it has a very nice presentation overall. So it's not my favorite. I still prefer PCG for the subgrade system that it has going on there, which I think they do a great job with. But this is a close second. If I was gonna... If it weren't for the fact that they only service people in Japan, this would probably be my number one, because I do like this slab a lot. It's a thick beast, and I don't know. I like it overall. But yeah, those are my general thoughts on the various card slabs out there on the market. Did you like this video? Did you hate this video? Do you think Uncle Frank looks like he's melting in the heat? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you enjoyed, please like, share, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm not saying it's hot in here, but I do look like I fit in a Michael Bay movie.